Sanam, aloha, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. And if you could put your name and your type, your human design type if you know it, and also your astrological information if you want to include that too. And if you don't have your chart, go to the information box below and you can get your free chart. And also I'll put it in the comments section as well, along with the timestamps. Okay, so let me just get my comments up here. Oh, great. Awesome. Yes, I've been missing me too. I've been, my Sleeping Phoenix program is coming to an end tomorrow, so that was taking a lot of my energy and time. And then this week has been really heavy for me. I don't know how you're doing this week, but there's been a lot of pressure. But it looks like astrologically we're going to have a little reprieve starting tomorrow and then the new moon. Okay, so let's go. And I want to share my, whoops, get rid of that there. Share my screen and we'll talk about the new moon here. I'll make sure that this is set up. Okay, there we go, there we go, okay, that's great. People have started to write down their types and their astro stuff if they want to. So this is the new moon on November 23rd coming up. And, we're coming to a close with the eclipse season. So I'm sure that people have been under pressure to let go and something called shattered reality, where reality kind of sets in and things that you counted on before, maybe people or a job or a place of living, that kind of, it's like the rug, right? The universe takes the rug and then you go slipping, right? That's the eclipse energy. But then it's just bringing us into truth, right? It's bringing us into truth. And just a reminder that we're in this nodal axis still. This is going to switch pretty soon. Let me just check my ephemeris here. November 22nd, November 27th, it's going to be shifting to the 2444. Anyway, I'll do a video on that. So, just a reminder that we're still in this till November 27th, though I have it dated, right? So the North Node is where the lessons are. This is where we're to go, and this is what we're to let go of, right? So this is Scorpio, numbness, and then Taurus is orientation, unity. That's the 1 to 2. So this time is really about embracing the feminine, totally aligned with this new moon energy, and surrender, trust, right? Become receptive, right? Trust in the hidden harmony. This is the 2. This is connected to the magnetic monopole and the creative, and more being a human being, not a human doing. And then letting go of this numbness, this feeling of numbness. This is the shadow of numbness or entropy, right? So letting go of isolation, either isolating or being a buzzy bee. Letting go of sadness and depression. So that's part of it too. Maybe you felt depressed or really sad, like really emotional these last couple of weeks. Because remember, as we come closer and closer to the nodes flipping, right, into a new shadow pattern, new gifts, it's going to get stronger and stronger, right? So this is the heaviness. It's really chemical, right? It's really felt in the body, right? It's very visceral. So we're still in this. And then there's the new moon chart right here. Oh, good. I can see this. So there's the new moon chart here. So what's really interesting, and I just put this in my newsletter, is this channel is activated here, right? So this is the body graph. So this is the body graph of the collective, of humanity. But we're all going to go through these transits. So we're all going to feel this 3420. And you see why it's activated? You got the 34 in the sun position, and then the moon, right? The new moon is in that too. And then the 20, of course, is in the earth. That's the programming partner of the 34 is the 20. And they just happen to not all programming partners make a channel, but this one does. So this is the channel of charisma, it's called. So we're all going to feel this. And this is one of the main activation keys, because there's keys. That's a key, 34 and a 20. It's part of the sleeping phoenix, right? It's 3420 and 5955. I don't have it in this slide, right? So when this cross of the sleeping phoenix gets activated in 2027, this is activated, right? This 3420. So what does this mean? This is the channel of charisma. So you want to check your chart. And remember, if you don't have your chart, go get your free chart. It's really easy to do. And then you can follow along with these videos, right? And learn more about yourself. So the 3420, the channel of charisma, this is about doing what you love to do. So if you have this, it's also called the busy channel. People with this channel are very, very busy. And it's an individual channel. So it's about you just following your passion, whatever you're passionate about. I know several people actually with this channel natally, right? And they just get locked in to what they're doing, what they love to do. They just block out the rest of the world, other people, and they're in their passion. And this is the charisma, right? This is the charisma. So it's empowering. Whenever you hear me say individual channels, right, or gates, that word is very key, which is empowering. And we're leaving this tribal consciousness, the cross of planning, into more individual, authentic, right? Authentic individual. So this is about becoming an empowered human being. So if you have this channel, and we're all going to feel this, right? When the new moon starts, because it's going to be activated. Following your passion, when you just go and follow your passion and trust your heart, right? Trust your heart, trust your strategy in human design, then what you do is you send out this frequency, right, out to the field. We're all connected through this information field, and this in turn empowers other people. So they're going to watch you do whatever you're doing, what you love to do, what you're passionate about doing, and they're going to feel empowered, like, oh, I want to follow my passions too, right? So this is a very powerful channel here. So what we want to talk about today is this 34, this 34 that the new moon is activating, right? So it's in the sun and the moon. That means the sun and moon conjunct always means new moon. So this 34. So this is the shadow of force. Why it's doing that. The shadow of force. The shadow of force down here. And then the gift of strength and majesty, right? This 34. So let's talk about force. So remember, there's a gift in every shadow, so don't be afraid of the shadow. Somebody mentioned the other day, I don't know if she's here, I don't see her yet, on the chat about she gets triggered by my videos. This is the shadow. It's never about, the thing is, when people trigger you, it's never about them, it's about you, you know? I trigger people left and right because I'm doing shadow work myself. So of course it's going to draw up the shadow of other people, and then they project it on you, right? So if you're triggered, bring it back to yourself. This is what it means to grow up, to become a spiritual adult, is start taking responsibility for your state of consciousness. Start taking accountability that other person, that's just a mirror, right? This whole universe is a mirror. So if you're triggered by someone, you bring it back to yourself. Don't be blaming the mirror, right? Blaming the reflection. That's all it is. So, yeah. So Own it. It's a gift, right? When you're triggered by another person, it's like look at it as a learning experience, right? A teaching opportunity to teach you something about yourself, especially if you're a generator and a manifesting generator. If you're of that type, you're here to learn about yourself more than any other of the types. So force, let's talk about force, the complete opposite of majesty, right? So this is acting without thinking or considering other people, forcing something something to go where it doesn't easily go on its own, right? This is the ego. This is what the ego, this voice in your head, is telling you. This is the non-self, right? It's just a form. It's that voice in your head that you believe is you. It's been with you for so long. So then you get trapped in these unconscious mental loops, right? Where you just can't get out of it. This is the shadow of force. It's like there's no other way. There's nothing. The higher frequency of that channel of charisma is you're in your passion, but this is the lower frequency. Like nobody can get through to you, right? You're just stuck, right? You're stuck. It's got to be this way. It has to be this way. There's no room for creativity, right? In these shadow patterns. And then bullying others because you see them as enemies. This person's blocking me. They're stopping me. Or you give your power over to others. There's always a duality with the shadow patterns. It's either you're bullying or you're being bullied. Get confronted by people because of your unconscious actions, right? That are usually foolish because you're locked into this shadow pattern. So here's what the shadow, right? The ego is going to be telling you that nothing will happen. Nothing's going to happen if you don't use force. You've got to make it happen, right? Your shadow feels victimized by self-absorption and trying to make things happen. And remember, with this North Node, we're here to embrace the feminine, right? We've been working on this since July, embracing the feminine. And when you're in this energy, I know this. I've been in this shadow pattern before, right? With force, and it's got to be this way, and this is the only way, and I have to make it happen, right? You're not embracing the feminine. It's like it's out of balance. You're too much in your masculine when you're in the shadow of force, or you're too passive, like an unhealthy feminine, where you're completely passive and not doing anything, right? Letting people walk all over you. Well, this is different, right? The feminine, the true feminine, is very, very powerful, right? And this is about the magnetic, this two right there that you can see there. That's the magnetic monopole. The magnetic monopole that's activated right here, right? Because it's in the nodes. The two, that's bringing everything to you. It's like it's a magnet. And it's magnetic mono, so it's one, right? So it attracts, it doesn't repel, it attracts everything to you. So this is about trusting, right? Trusting that everything you need is coming to you. And this is what human design teaches us, right? Everything that you have everything that you need is already inside you. So that's the shadow. And then if we go to the gift, like majesty, so feel the frequency of force, and then majesty. Majesty's the king or queen, the archetype of the king or queen. This is your true strength. So that's sitting in that too. You know what I mean? It's like sitting in that magnetic monopole. Imagine you're sitting on a throne like a king or queen, and the throne is inside you, right? And the original self is in the navel area. That's your original self. Like imagine you sitting there, right? Your being, right? The being of who you are is sitting there, and everything is coming to you, right? The king or queen they don't run out and get things. People bring them, right? Their servants, their court, everything is brought to them. Like just look at it as an archetype. And the archetype of the king or queen, like the true king or queen, they're surrendered to the divine. That's what majestic means, right? They're surrendered to the divine. They're in union with the divine. And then creation serves them, right? But it's not coming from the ego, right? That's not majesty whatsoever. So it's the complete opposite of this force, the shadow force, majesty. So this is allowing things to come to you, right? This new moon, this is a preparation for the cross of the sleeping phoenix coming, you know? And this is the trust, self-sovereign. That's a huge word for the cross of the sleeping phoenix. Self-sovereign. Rulership over my own self, right? Nobody rules me, right? I rule myself, right? Through the divine, That's my ruler, is the divine. It's not something outside of me. So this is when you act in harmony with natural forces. The king or queen the true king or queen doesn't take any action unless it's inspired by the divine, right? So, and it's in harmony. So you're in harmony with natural forces. So sometimes the energy is for taking action and sometimes it's for rest, right? This is what we need to learn now is energy. It's all about frequency as we enter into the Aquarian age. Is it getting in touch with our subtlety? Where is the energy today? Right? Sleeping Phoenix is all about coming into the eternal now. It's not about strategy and planning, right? And hustling and hassling. It's letting things come to you. So when you're in this gift, right? The strength and majesty. And remember with shadow patterns, all you have to do, shadow work is really easy. You don't project it on other people. If you see force, we'll see it out in the world, right? Because we're a collective. We're all influenced by these transits, right? Well, if we see this force happening out in the world, we don't blame. It's them. If they only did this or they didn't do that. It's about bringing it back inside and then asking yourself, where do I force things in my life, right? That's where you're going to find it. Not just just even asking yourself the question, the answer will come, right? You'll be shown where you're in the shadow force in your life. And one of the biggest things how we force ourselves is we force ourselves not to be our authentic self. We force ourselves to be, a square peg in a round hole. We've been taught this. This is our conditioning. From day one, we're taught this world does not support authenticity. Doesn't support you being your authentic self. So we force ourselves to be someone that we're not, right? We force ourselves to wear a mask so that we can hide, so that we can cope with this world. We're taught this by our parents, and our parents were taught that by our grandparents, and so on, right? So, this is another place to look. Like, where am I forcing myself to be someone that I'm not? Where am I forcing myself to do something that I'm not passionate about? This is all about passion, this 3420. This transit's going to show you what you're passionate about. But if you're in the shadow of force, well, I can't do this because I need money. Like, that's the big excuse. I got to pay bills. How am I going to make money from this? 3420 doesn't care. All it cares about is you living your authentic self, right? Being inspired, right? Being passionate in your actions. This is inspired action, right? And then the support comes. The support will turn up in some way. It's about trusting this. It's trusting your strategy, right? If you're a generator, to respond with a yes. If you're getting a yes for something, then follow it, right? The divine is like, come this way, keep coming this way, keep coming this way. And force is the ego getting in there and wanting the block, right? Wanting the block. And it's not going to work, because this is what's dismantling for the Aquarian age. We're seeing it out in the world. This ego is losing control, losing its grip, and it's going to become more and more insane, right? As we move closer and closer into the Aquarian age, the ego is not going to have the power that it had before, right? There was power in not being yourself, and being manipulative and being competitive, right? And being in conflict with yourself. This is how you survived, and then you accumulated power. That's not going to work anymore for the Aquarian age, because it's not authentic. It's not authentic and real. So, So, of course, you draw attention and admiration from other people when you're in this gift of strength and majesty. It's that this true confidence, right? It's confiding in the divine. That's what you're confiding in. You trust that your human body is pure awareness, and it feels like the entire universe is moving through you, right? This is the universe inside that we're being called to go more and more into the feminine. The dark feminine is inside each one of us, the yin. And then you feel majestic like a king or queen. When you're yourself, your authenticity is going to start to become rewarded now, if not already. And then to let life go where it needs to go without you interfering. It's about trusting life. It's about trusting life. So being in tune with the energies, right? What's the energy? Oh, there's no energy in this job anymore. There's no energy in this relationship anymore. There's no energy in this place of living anymore. I'm going to follow my passions now, right? And I trust and have faith. This is the test of faith. We're in it right now, right? And this is where we put our money where our mouth is. We can spew a lot of great sounding words, spiritual words, and have a great talk, but it's all about action, right? The Aquarian age, the language is action. Our authenticity is when our actions are matching up with our words, when we're in integrity, right? That's authenticity. So you don't want to listen to your mind when you make your decisions. That's non-negotiable. That should be like for every shadow pattern. It's like, don't listen to your mind to make your decisions right now, and act only by inspiration. And it's going to bring up fear, right? It's going to bring up emotions. Because this, right? This is losing control over you, this ego and not in mind, this not self, so that you can be your authentic self. So if we look at the other side, right, the 34, sitting in your throne, isn't it interesting too? It's in the sacral, the 34. So sitting in your throne. And then you've got to watch this force and superficiality work together. So those two, that's the 20 is the shadow, and then the 34 is force. So that's up here, right? Living up in the surface of life with the five senses, the emotions, body, mind. That's all you think, right? Reacting to life, right? Trying to just go along to get along, all the ego strategies here. This is going deeper. This is superficiality. That's the 20th shadow, in force, right? So superficiality is skidding on the surface of life, thinking that's all there is, right? And I got to hustle and hassle to survive. I have to compete and play this game, the ego game. Well, this is going into being, right? The 20 is being. It's naturalness. It's coming back into your authenticity. It's going into your deeper, deeper self. And this is where your true power is, and your true strength is here, right? So don't get caught up here in the surface of life. So just a reminder, right? We're evolving from this mental awareness system, experiencing life through the mind, through duality, and then we're moving into this solar plexus mutation, which is going to lead us to spirit awareness. So the work is right here, your emotions. It's interesting, I was just reading and listening to the Bringers of the Dawn. You may have heard of that. It's a book way back from the 80s, like late 80s. Barbara Messiniak channeling the Pleiadians. And it's really interesting because it's so applicable to now, the time they were in right now. And they mentioned, right, this great shift of the ages, they mentioned this is our work, right? So this so fits in with the gene keys and human design and Kundalini yoga meditation, all these evolutionary astrology, all these systems that are saying the same thing, right? It's our emotions, right? Our emotional awareness is going to awaken, and this is going to bring us to a true experience of unity consciousness, spirit awareness. This is mental. All we see is separation. This is the illusion, right? We're moving out of that. And the only way through, as I mentioned, like a broken record, is through this emotional body, right? Going back to the childhood, to all these stuck emotions, right? Emotions are just energy in motion. They crystallize, right, in the body, and then this is when they start unleashing. This is what they start to feel like: anger, depression, fear, grief. This is what we name them, but it's just energy that wants to move. And then spirit awareness is on the other side. And who's stopping you? You, the ego, which isn't you, right? That's the only one thing that's stopping you from entering into this realm, the emotional body. That's why it's been so stigmatized on our planet, the emotions, right? The emotional work, because there's so much power here, right? So you want to stop thinking your way through life, right? If you leave with anything, stop thinking your way through life. It's time to start feeling your way through life. This is the new felt perception. That's how we're going to experience life, right? Okay. So let me just acknowledge some folks, and then we'll go into the collective readings. Okay. Love, heart, light. Can't wait. Missing you. Yeah. Okay. 4-6 splenic projector. Okay. Aquarius. Moon in Leo. I have a moon in Leo too. Cross of explanation. Awesome. Teacher. Of course, you got the 4-6. Love, heart, light's been feeling the beyond heavy. Luna Song from Florida. Satnam, manifesting generator. Navia 11. Generator. Gabby from Vienna. Yeah, last week was exhausting. So this is about being in tune with the energy, right? And forcing would be like, I'm exhausted and I need to sleep. And forcing is like listening to the mind. I've got all these things to do, right? And what you end up doing is making it worse, because the body's got to pay for it, right? There's karma when you're not aligned with your authenticity, which is to be aligned with these energies. Then somebody's got to pay the karma, and it's going to be the body, right? And this is how illness and disease come in. Okay, love, heart, light with the 6th line, manifestor, teen daughter. That's great. Shim Sham, Northern Ireland, generator. Awesome. Lisa Vale. Thank you, MG. Yeah. NSSMMD. Hello. CV Ricks, generator. Taurus Sun, manifesting generator 6-2. Okay. Lena, she's got the 34. Yeah. You're going to relate to this, especially if it's in the sun position. So you know this 34. Yeah. I know somebody with this, right? This same thing, this 3420. He's got a birthday coming up, of course, because we're in the 23rd of November. But he gets in all kinds of troubles, right? Because he gets into the shadow of force and accidents and making really stupid mistakes, and he knows it now. Aaron Smith, great. Reflector, yeah, you're a reflector, 4-6. Okay, great. Shim Sham says, I've been lost last few weeks, feeling creativity coming back as I've stopped pushing against the river, as you're talking about. That's right. Yeah. And it's just about trusting, right? Everything's changed. Everything is changing really, really fast. So that's what my channel is about, is to help people ease into this new energy. And you're going to love it, right? Because it's going to bring it. It's about us being ourselves, our authentic self. And very soon, when there's enough of us that start waking up to our authenticity, then this is going to spread, right? It's going to spread to the field of human consciousness. And then it's easier for other people to be their authentic self. Projector 6-2. We got a couple 6 lines here. Okay. And then MG. Awesome. Okay. So this is the reading that I did. I prayed over the cards first, us as a collective. So this is where we are now. This is the Judgment card. So I'm going to get my cards because I like looking at them and holding them. Okay. So this is the Judgment card, and this is about your soul purpose, right? Your soul purpose right there. So it's the call of your soul. That's why it's a phone. Are you going to answer or not, right? So this is your, right? And the call of your soul starts, number one thing to do first before you can even answer the phone, even before you know it's ringing, right? You don't even know it's ringing until you're your authentic self. You have to be aligned with your authenticity. Then you're gonna hear the call, and this is this 3420, right? Following your passions. Don't go into the mind with strategizing and this and that. We don't know what the world's going to look like. It's all an unknown, right? So pretend that there's no, what we see out in the world now may not even exist. The JOBs out there may not even exist, right? But your soul knows, right, what your purpose is. So to trust that when you're aligned with your higher self. So this is to remember, right? Because the powers that be want us to be in despair. They want us to feel hopeless because we're out of our power then, right? We can be controlled and manipulated. It's to remember. That's all the spiritual journey is remembering everything that you know everything already. It's inside of you. That's what education is. It's just drawing out what's already inside you, the wisdom that's inside you already, right? So just to remember that you're here for a reason. And there's 8 billion, I think there's 8 billion people on the planet now, the last statistic that I saw, and there's only one you, right? That's your uniqueness, your unique expression of the divine. So that's where we are now with this new moon, right? And we've got this 3420 that's supporting us right there. So what not to focus on is on the other side, this 10 of Wands. You see the 10 of Wands? That's the burden card, right? Burdened. So don't be paying attention to like being burdened. This is force. This is the shadow of force. Hard work, extra responsibility, right? Overwhelmed, right? Overwhelmed. This is not to focus on this. Your soul purpose gives you joy. And especially if you're a generator, manifesting generator, remember it's about your work. So your vocation, your soul purpose, your passion, what you're passionate about. That's why you're here, to rebuild this new world, right? This new earth. This is frustration, right? The 10 of Wands is the feeling frustrated, right? With, it has to be this way, right? This is the non-self generator world, manifesting generator world. That work has to be this slog, and you're not valued for it, and you got to compete, and you got to hustle and hassle. This is the 10 of Wands. It's like, throw that out, right? We're creating new paradigms now. That my work can be this joy. It can give me energy, right? It can give me energy. I can enjoy my work. I can feel fulfilled. That's your word, right? Fulfillment. For the generators. So not to focus on that, because the mind and the ego can get in there and it's like, well, that's too easy. That sounds like it's too fun, right? Who's going to pay for that? Who's going to value that? That's not your job. That's not the ego's job. Your job is just to surrender, right? Surrender to life. Surrender to that call. Right, your soul purpose, and that it can be this joyous, uplifting thing for you, And when we're doing our soul purpose, if you have started already, like even reflect on what you love to do, like things that you love to do in your life. They're all little clues. Oh, this leads to my soul purpose. Things you'd be doing anyway, right? That's your soul purpose. So at the bottom here, right, underneath it all that we're not aware of is the 6 of Cups. That's the inner child, right? That's the inner child. So this is the innocence and joy. There we go. There's those words again. Innocence and joy, right? It's a reunion with yourself, with that joy that you felt when you were a child, when you came down to earth, before all the conditioning got piled on you, right? So that's a really good sign here. It's around your soul purpose. That's what I see. And then the spiritual advice is the Five of Wands, and you can see him with the boulder, pushing the boulder up this is force, right? Pushing the boulder, going against gravity, pushing it against on the mountain. So this is conflict, inner battle, competition, difficulty. So why is this the spiritual? Well, it's about letting this go, right? Letting this go. So this is any inner battle that you have inside you, right? Any conflict that you have inside you has to go. And the conflict is going to be no surprise, right? It's the ego, right? So this is this battle with the authenticity, my authentic self, and then this inauthentic self, this not self, right? So the not self gets formed in childhood, right? It gets formed in childhood because our parents, God bless our parents, it's not about blaming parents. It's about identifying the pattern so that you can break it. So you got a parent that's inauthentic because authenticity is not rewarded on this planet. So they're inauthentic. They have that frequency. You're coming in as your authentic self. That doesn't work. It's oil and water. So you choose. You've got to make a choice as a child. Am I going to attach to my caregiver and be inauthentic like them? Because that's what my caregiver is. My mother or father is encouraging me to be my not self, right? Not nurturing my authenticity, because that's not allowed on this planet. Or am I going to remain my authentic self as a child? So guess what? The child's going to choose, right? Maybe there's one part, well, I'm going to keep this to myself, my authentic self. I did this as a child. I'm going to keep this part of myself and I'm going to keep this hidden away. This is my authentic self. I'm not going to express it out here because it's not safe, right? But then there's another part of me, a false self, that gets created, and that's about attachment to the caregiver, right? Pretending you're someone that you're not. Well, this is the conflict. We got to let go of that non-self and then let this authentic self come out in full bloom now, right? So it's letting that go. That's what I see there with this conflict, this inner battle inside here. So this is deep emotional work, right? Because this not self is connected to a bunch of emotions that had to get suppressed. Had to get pushed down as a child because you're not being loved as yourself, right? So that's very painful for a child. So there we go. I hope that makes sense, like in a nutshell, what that this battle with the not self and the authentic self. We can all of us can relate to that, you know, wearing a mask. We did it to cope. It's not a bad thing. It served us, but now it's not going to serve us anymore in this new age. Like pretending we're someone that we're not. So you want to let that go because that does not belong with your soul purpose. It's not real. It's right. It has no power. It's not based in any kind of reality. So it has to go. And then overriding everything is this Ace of Cups. So this is love, right? So it's new beginnings, love, creativity, but it's really about self-love. The Ace of Cups is self-love. Right? It's letting the divine love you. The divine loves you unconditionally, and then loving yourself unconditionally. That's overriding everything, right? And then let's see what the ego's got to say here. The ego's always got something to say. And the two of them came out with this one. So this could be a potential block for you. And so this is validation. It's the you must agree with me, and then the authority figure here. So these are ego traps. So this is seeking validation, right? And so when you get an Ace of Cups, it's like a little sprout, right? It's a little sprout. So you begin, right? Oh, I'm beginning the process. I'm really loving myself, and I'm reuniting with this lost inner child, right? that's holding this gift for me. There's like this deep gift that's connected to my soul purpose. I'm bringing this back. Well, it's a little sprout that's coming up. This is your authenticities, right? You're resurrecting your authenticity with the Six of Cups. It's connected to your childhood. It's coming up. Well, this ego is going to say, well, it's not real, and it's going to point you to somebody in your life that's not authentic, that's not real, that's going to be threatened by any of this healing work, right? If they're ruled by their ego, looking for validation. So you have to watch this. It's like, when the sprout's coming out, you want to just protect it, right? It's like I'm learning to walk again. It's like a child, right? I'm learning to walk as myself again. I'm learning to speak as myself, my true self. There's a vulnerability there when you really start to bring these authentic parts back that have been buried for years and years and years, that were not welcome, right? Not welcome in your family or your schools. You want to be protective of that, right? So not be running to go to a trusted person, and even then go deep and maybe go to your strategy, right? Is this correct for me to be expressing this to this person, right? So not looking for validation, like really trusting your own experience, And that's why I love journal writing, because you can have that communication with yourself, right? Learning more about yourself. Yeah. So no one can validate your experience but you, right? Nobody can value your experience for you, because that will all it takes. If that little sprout comes up and somebody's coming down with the boot on top of it because they're threatened by any authenticity, because it shows them how fake they are, right? That boot's going to come down on the sprout. So authority figure, so it's connected to an authority figure in your life, maybe a mother figure or father figure, or your mother or father if they're still alive, right? Because often what we do with authority figures is we transpose our relationship with our own parent and our caregiver onto the authority figure. And you see this, people doing this with little g, right? In Western medicine and all that. All they're doing is transposing their own relationship of a child and parent onto these institutions, right? So this is about, and we all have to face this, right? This authority figure because what we're learning, right, in this new age of Aquarius and this new cross of the sleeping phoenix coming, is to be self-empowered, right? Not giving our power to an external authority, right? And which we learned in childhood is to give our power away to our parent, to our teachers, to our religions, right? Little g, the police, right? All these outside authorities. So to watch this, and we're going to be faced with this. This is going to be a test, right? With your authenticity. What are you going to trust more? Somebody else outside of you to tell you what to do and tell you who you are and what your value is and what you're capable of? Or are you going to listen to yourself, right? Your higher self. That's what it's saying here. And this all goes back to childhood. That's the root of it all, right? This is the work. Yeah. Okay. I think that's it. So this is an important new moon, I see here. But it's all about this activating your soul purpose. We're getting activated for 2023. Yeah. And sometimes, you got to stand as a community of one. Maybe you don't have a lot of soul allies in your life. With this eclipse season, maybe people are being taken out of your world, right? Because they're not aligning with your authentic self. Sometimes you got to stand as a community of one. You got to trust, right? This is about trusting your authenticity first. And that's why human design's great, because it gives us a strategy to work with, right? What's correct for us. Okay. So let's go to the readings. And, oh good, some more people joined in. Darlene Kitchen from BC, Canada. Great. Trying to go with the flow, yeah. So this trying, right? I'm trying to go with the flow because this is the shadow of force that I'm talking about. Even to use the word trying, it's just I am in the flow. Like speak to yourself like that, like you're already doing it. I am in the flow. The 6-2 generator. And if you listen to all the generators and manifesting generators, if you just listen to your sacral, you're going to be in the flow. Okay. Thomas, 35MG, Libra from Chicago. I'm moving forward with a new venture and quitting my soul-killing job. Yes, tumultuous times. That's right. Because we also, just thinking of tumultuous, is Neptune is in the 36, and that's the shadow of turbulence, right? The shadow of turbulence. And it's with this new moon, it's squaring Mars. So there we have Mars in the 45, squaring Neptune, 36. So you can see the 45 is up here off the throat. Mars is activating that. That's the shadow of domination. This is bully, 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 bully. Mars, right? That's the ego. Mars represents the ego. Squaring 36 of turbulence, and Neptune's activating that. Who's going to win? Right there? Mars, the ego's not going to win, right? Mars isn't going to win. All that domination energy is going to completely get dissolved. Neptune dissolves everything. It's Neptune. It's the ocean, right? It's spirituality. It will dissolve all of that. And if you continue not to go with the flow, because that's what Neptune is telling us, right? To go with the flow, relax, let life do its thing, be majestic, right? Be on your throne. Let life serve you and take you along. That there'll be crisis, right? So it's like I'm going to force and I'm going to dominate other people and I'm going to get on the top of the hierarchy, because this is all about the hierarchy, the 45. I'm going to climb to the top of the ladder and put right with everybody, with my boot print on everybody's head below me to get to the top. That's just going to bring crisis. That's what crisis is, this turbulence coming off the solar plexus, So the gift here is compassion. It's humanity and compassion, the 36. So that's where to go. And then the 45 is communion. That's like the highest gift of the 45. So this is about a relationship to other people. So that's like, you're not going to do well here, right? With this 45, 36. Yeah. Not going to win with it. And we're going to see a lot of fun though. Like have fun, watch the show. That's what I like to say. I feel like I'm in the theater, but I'm up on the balcony seat. You know, you're not like really super close to the screen, but just come up on the balcony seat, and then you can really enjoy what's happening in the world, right? When you start to see these patterns at play. Yeah. Thank you for mentioning that, Thomas. I'd forgotten about that. Yeah. And then also Jupiter is trining. Jupiter's going direct too, which that's good news. This 25.1 that comes off the south, that's all about love, right? That's universal love. This is our innocence, the 25. And trining, that triangle, that's always good energy. Trining the 34, the majesty, right? Universal love and majesty. So fits with this 6 of Cups, to bring love into what you do, right? Whatever you're doing, right? What would love do? If everything, I always ask this question, if all your needs were taken care of, you didn't have to worry about money, right? You lived in a beautiful place where your food and your shelter, all that was taken care of. You had extra money for extra things that you wanted. What would you do? How would you spend your time? Well, it's going to involve love, isn't it? Right? If you take the survival stuff out of it. So that's what this is saying. And it's expanding, right? Jupiter expands everything it touches. So it's going to expand that, this majesty energy. Okay, so let's see. Yeah. How you deal with a bully, right? Because he's saying that with this 45. That's right, because Mars has been activating this for a while, this 45, right? The Mars. Wherever Mars is, that's where we experience it in our life. Either we're bullied outside of us by someone else, or we're bullying ourselves. We bully others, they bully us, or we're bullying ourselves internally, right? Bullying us out of our authentic self, usually. Don't bite the bait. Somebody's coming at you, bullying you, and whatever. Of course, right, if it's physical, you protect yourself, you set a boundary, but don't feed it. That's what I always say. Never feed an unstable mind. Yeah. 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 Nikki's Lamar says, just stop talking about, yeah, my best friends have taken my finance, have taken a beating. Yeah. Whenever we have financial issues, it always has to do with self-value, you know, and fear. Yeah. Anyway, hopefully these readings will help. So we're going to start with, where are we going to start? We're going to start with the manifesting generators. Okay. Let me just get all the cards here. So this is 35% of the world. So they're part of the generator family, the manifesting generators. So if you've got that 3420, well, you're going to be a manifesting generator. So what would that shadow of force look like for an MG? Right? Well, it wouldn't be listening to your strategy, would it? You wouldn't be responding. Force doesn't belong with that word respond. It's react. Force is react. Before you know it, you're forcing something. Forcing your opinion, right? Forcing your point of view. Even physically forcing things to happen. Interfering with life, right? So you want to respond with your navel manifesting generator with a yes or no. And you've got to learn to wait. You have to learn patience, right? The manifesting generator really has to learn patience in this lifetime. And the majesty for the generators is waiting on your throne, knowing that there's going to be something to respond to. Life will bring you something to respond to. That's correct for you. You know? And remember that you grow in levels. This is for the generators too. You go through levels. So you respond to something, and then you're in this cycle of experience, and then you come to a plateau. And where generators and manifesting generators get into trouble is they try to initiate. They try to be manifestors then. Right? I want a raise. I want to leave this job and go to somewhere else. This isn't working anymore. When it's just all you have to do is wait, right? Be patient. You're in a plateau, especially the MGs, right? With the impatient, that something else will come. You just have to wait and be patient and trust the energy, you know? Okay, so what do we got for the manifesting generator? So when you're operating as your not self, and that means listening to your mind and your ego and forcing for this new moon, you're going to feel frustrated because it's not going to go. It's not going to go where the ego and the mind want it to go. So you want to feel fulfilled. Right? So this is about your soul purpose. Okay. MJ. And then we'll see what the ego has to say. So the manifesting generator has the 9 of Wands. So this is the warrior. the warrior. But in this particular, and it's about perseverance, it's also courage, but it's also about setting boundaries for yourself, manifesting generators. Especially if someone is trying to project that onto you, like trying to force you to do something that's not correct for you, is to set a boundary. Set a boundary. And the boundary could be as easy as like using time and space. I always love that one. Where it's like I need time, right? If somebody's forcing you into action to do something, I need time to think about this. I need time to meditate about this, right? Meditate on this. Okay. And then let's see here. Manifesting generators. Gemini. Okay. And then the ego has you confused, right? Confusion. Yeah. So the confusion could be about losing control of your life, like feeling like you're losing control of your life. And so confusion means you're not fused with the divine, right? You're not connected to the divine. And that's when you're giving your authority over to the mind to make your decisions. And the mind remembers duality. It's like back and forth, back and forth. Should I do this? Well, this will happen. Or should I do this over here? Shouldn't I do this? Back and forth, back and forth. It just creates confusion, right? And this means you're in your mind and you're not in your sacral. Right? You're not in your sacral. To me, this Nine of Wands is being in your sacral, being in your throne, in your majesty, right here, and setting boundaries and having courage to stand up for yourself, right? Stand up for yourself. Because as soon as you're in this energy of confusion in the mind, another ego can get you, right? As soon as you're off balance and you're not in your center, right? Another ego can talk you out of your feelings, can talk you out, well, use strategy on you, use that left brain on you. Well, this makes sense if you do this and do this and do this, right? And that's not, you'll end up as a manifesting generator in a cycle of experience that's not correct for you, and then you're going to feel this frustration. So to me, this Nine of Wands is saying, set a boundary. When this, remember, we're all collectively going to be going through these shadow patterns, this transit, is to set a boundary. And a great boundary to set is like, give me some time. I need some time to think about this, right? I'm feeling pressured right now to even be authentic. I'm feeling pressured right now to make a decision, and I don't feel I have enough information, or I don't feel like this is the time for me to make a decision like this, right? And if that person is an ally of yours, they're going to say, of course, yeah, of course, take some time to think about this, you know? But if they're not, and they're coming at you with force, you need to make a decision right now. They're not your ally, right? Yeah. And then you got Gemini, right? I got the Gemini dice. And then the 6th house. So Gemini's all about the mind. And that's where that Mars is. That's where that Mars is. The 45, the shadow of domination, is in Gemini. Mars retrograde in Gemini. So this is about you not getting trapped, right? Trapped up into that head and confusion. Staying in your body. Yeah. In the 6th house, that's all about your work, what you do on the day-to-day, right? Your Gemini. Yeah. And sometimes that's scary, like I said, you know, when you're really starting to become your authentic self in the beginning and standing up for yourself, it can be scary, but the Nine of Wands is saying to like bring that warrior energy. The warrior, what's the true warrior? The warrior fights for the heart. That's the true warrior. The warrior doesn't fight for you know, corporate interests and things like that we're seeing out, mercenaries really. The true warrior, the archetype of the warrior, they fight for the heart. They fight for their innocence. So that's what you're standing up for. Could be your health too. Your health, like standing up for your health. Yeah. Especially if you like forcing yourself, if you're not feeling well, like that person said on the chat. I need to rest. My body's telling me to rest and take it easy. The energy is telling me this, and then you're going against it. You're in the shadow of force, this new moon, right? You're not, the body's going to pay, right? That's what that sixth house is saying too, right? Your body will show you where you're not being authentic, when you're not being authentic. Yeah. And to watch the nervous system too. Lungs. Gemini rules the lungs, the nervous system, the hands. Your body will show you where you're forcing in life, you know? Even if you're in a workplace that's toxic for you, not correct for you anymore. You know, what I used to get was eczema. I'd get eczema on my hands. That's the nervous system. It would show me this place isn't correct for me. My body is stressed, right? This is about stress. Yeah. Okay. So that's the manifesting generator. And remember, you want to be in the gift of majesty, manifesting generator, and that means you're the king or queen. You're letting things come to you and you're responding, not listening to the mind. You're responding to life and trust that life will bring you things to respond to with a yes or no. Like and obeying your navel and doing things that you love, that you're passionate about. So make sure to listen to the beginning part to learn more about the shadow. Okay, so that's the manifesting generators. And then let's go for the generators. Yeah. Okay, so Nikki, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Nikki or Neek. She's a manifesting generator and says the part of me, and this is your mind and ego that wants to say F it and just sell everything and move to Mexico. Right? This is the mind. Right? So if something comes to you like an opportunity of moving to Mexico and you respond with a yes, then go for it. This is right. You guys, the manifesting generators have to deal with impatience. Right? They're like probably the least patient type in human design, right? And they want to initiate. They just want to get whatever they're feeling, this uncomfortable discomfort, off them, right? It's I want to act to get rid of this, how I'm feeling. Yeah. And you got Capricorn placements and you want to stay here and learn real estate. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So let's go for the generators. And can somebody on the chat, because I can't do it from here, block these people that just came on? Okay. You know what I mean, the spam. Okay. So let's go for generator. So this is 35% of the world, and they're part of the generator family and manifesting generator. But I like to separate them. So they too have the open and enveloping aura, and they're here to respond, right, with their sacral, with the yes or no. So for this new moon, they're dealing with the shadow of forcing things to happen, and that's going up in the mind and giving your authority over to your mind, your not self. And you want to respond, which means to be in the gift of majesty. That's your true strength. And then you're going to feel fulfilled. So if you go back to the fractal read, it's really about our soul purpose, activating our soul purpose for this new moon. And with the eclipse season, I mean, it's going to be showing you, right, the things that are leaving your life. Maybe even passions for things too, right? Like it could be internally, like, oh, I don't have motivation for this anymore. I'm not I used to love this, but now I don't anymore. That could be leaving too. So it's just waiting for something to respond to, and it will come to you. Okay, what do we got for the generator? The generator. Well, the generator has some heartbreak here. 3 of Swords. So this is emotional pain. We'll see what the other cards say. Something to let go of. Maybe you've lost something, right? During this eclipse, we've all lost something. It's something that was like a death. It could be a death. A relationship. Something that's causing emotional pain for you. Let's see what the ego's got to say for the generators. And maybe you're forcing that down. That's forced too. Authenticity is like, I'm sad. I'm heartbroken over this. Inauthenticity is, I'm going to push this down. I'm going to force it down. I'm going to force these emotions down. And pretend that I'm okay. Okay. Let's see what the ego's got to tell the generator. Sense. And the generators, Aquarius in the 2nd house. Okay. So you got the 3 of Swords, heartbreak, and then you got judgment, the ego, judgment. Yeah. So you're judging yourself. This is what I see with the generators. They've got some emotional pain that needs to come up. Some emotional work. We all have emotional work. There it is right there. Anger, depression, right? Which is anger is, depression is anger turned inward. Fear, grief, right? That needs to be integrated in the body. So that, what does that mean? These are just stuck energy. All you have to do is feel them. You feel them. And look who, on the other side is spirit awareness. This is the solar plexus mutation. This is your work generators. What's stopping you from entering this ego? And what's the ego doing? It's judging, right? So judging yourself. This comes from childhood too. Well, if you're emotional, then, you know, you're weak or whatever. You're cowardly. There's no room for cowards in this family, right? So suck it up, right? Suck it up and go out in the world and pretend everything's fine and bury this 3 of Swords energy, right? This heartbreak. So this is the judgment, the self-judgment, or it can be turned, it could be, you can be being judged by other people for your heartbreak. Maybe people don't want you being emotionally transparent around them, right? This is what this Neptune's about, generators, in the 36. Shadow of turbulence. This is about being fearing being emotionally overwhelmed. This is about emotional transparency. That's what authenticity is. If you're feeling sad, you say it. I'm feeling sad today. Does it mean you're a weak, cowardly person? No, that's all the judgment. That's the mind. If you look at it in truth, I'm a spiritual being having human experiences. And right now I'm experiencing sadness moving through me, right? That's a lot different than the stigma, the judgment. I'm a weak, cowardly person and I'm not allowed to feel, because that wasn't allowed when I was a child, the 0 to 7 years old, right? So Neptune is saying to get real, right? To get real. So stop judging yourself. So stop judging yourself because you're sad or you're heartbroken, right? And grief isn't like grief if you've experienced some kind of death. And death could be not like a physical death, but a loss of some kind. It's not on the ego's timeline. Well, I had enough time, right? It's like, oh, it's been 2 days now. I should be over this now. It doesn't. It moves at its own pace, right? This is about majesty, being aligned with the flow, the natural flow of energy. So don't get attached to what the mind is telling you, and to remember that this is your real work right now. This is the most important work you can do right now. This is your evolution right here, is this emotional work, right? So not attaching to this judgments, because this is the ego, the not self, going to grab that leg, pulling you back. It's pulling you back by telling you lies about your emotional state. It doesn't mean anything. It's just emotions are moving through me. That's all that's happening. Old frequencies are moving through me, right? And the thing is, our hearts were broken as children that I talked about before, the 0 to 7 years old, because we live in an unhealthy world, right? Our hearts were broken because we came in with open hearts, and then they were broken through our experiences, you know? So what we do is we attract situations, people, experiences that open. That's like, this is reopening your heart, right? As a generator, it's reopening your heart. And it's not about, because some generators, some people in human design can get it's just mechanics, it's just mechanical. Not with this solar plexus mutation. It's feelings, it's bringing the emotions. There's power in our emotions. We're learning a whole new awareness system. It's felt perception, feeling, right? It's much more than mechanical, right, for you. And the thing with if your heart isn't open, it's going to affect your navel and how your navel speaks to you, right? When you really open up to your authenticity, open up your heart, open up all the houses, all the doors, all the rooms in your mansions, right? In your mansion, all the doors are open. Not just a few doors, but all of them are open. It's going to increase your power to generate, right, that life force energy. So that's what I see there. And then you've got the second house. That's all about money. Second house is money, and it's your finances, and it's your sense of value. So your sense of value. So this judgment is judging. And if you have money problems, goes back to this. I know this sounds crazy to the mind, the left, right, the cross the planning mind is right there, the cross the planning mind with that doesn't make any sense. I have stuck emotions from childhood, and that's blocking me from receiving money. Yeah, it is. The logical mind, well, it's because the economy's so bad, or I can't get a job. No, we have to go to the depth generators. We can't be living up here in the shadow of superficiality and force, the five senses, right? The material world. We have to go to the deeper self, and this is the block. Currency, it's water, ruled by water, the emotional body, water, right? When things start moving in your emotional body, then money starts moving, right, into your life. That's how it works. And it's Aquarius, too. I think the lesson here is the Aquarius, well, it's the age of Aquarius, right? The age of Aquarius that we're entering is detachment. That's the gift of Aquarius. So you're moving through the emotional body. So just what I said before with the detachment, because here's what happens with emotionality. It's a lot of the world, their emotional body starting to get triggered and awakening. I talked about this before in another video. They get stuck in emotionality. This is not moving through the emotional body. It's staying in anger, right? Or it's staying in depression. It's staying in fear. It's not feeling it all the way through to the depth, right? Feeling it all the way through to the depth. So the detachment is a gift. The detachment is, I'm a spiritual being, right? There's your little ego. That's you, the expanded awareness. That's you, spirit awareness. And I'm detached. It doesn't mean I'm numb, right, to my feelings, but I see them in truth. I'm the king or queen, majesty. I'm on the throne, and I'm feeling these emotions moving through me. I'm not getting overwhelmed by them, right? They're moving through me. They're just moving through me. And okay, I cry, right? I yell. I have my emotional, experience of those emotions moving through me, but I don't get overwhelmed by them. That's emotionality. I'm still strong in myself. That's true strength. But I'm detached. I'm not numb. I'm still feeling. But I know that those emotions aren't me, right? You don't say I'm angry. You say I'm experiencing anger moving through me right now, right? That's how you speak about it. You don't identify with it. But that's the gift of Aquarius here, generator. So generator's got some emotional work to do. That's what I see here. And it's all about opening up your heart. So whatever experience you've had, especially in the eclipse season, feel it, right? Just feel it. Don't be pushing it down, forcing it down, or judging or letting other people judge you in your emotional state, because they'll just project on you, right? That's what people do. We project on each other. Okay. Okay. Yes, this is true freedom, everybody. Right here, this is freedom. This is what we want. We want to feel content. We want to feel happy, right? We want to feel like we belong. But it all starts with us. You've got to give yourself all those gifts yourself. That's what true freedom is. It's freedom from the past. And this is the past, this emotional body, right? We're entering into the cross of the sleeping phoenix. We have to let go of the past. We're coming into the eternal now. This is freedom, is to be present in this now moment, right? Content. That's what happiness is contentment. Content to be a human. Okay. So that's the generators. And let's go for the projectors, 20% of the world. So I'm a 2-4, 3 parts right projector, emotional projector. The right angle cross the contagion. So they need to be recognized. You can see there's the projector aura. They have an absorbing and focused aura. And they're here to be recognized for their gifts and talents, and then invited to guide. They're here to guide others. So when they're not operating correctly and they're trying to initiate or they're trying to respond to things like a generator, then they're going to feel bitter. And when they're operating correctly and they're studying, they're following their passions, whatever the passion is about, it usually involves other people, learning about how other people work. And then they're invited to help, they're going to feel successful. That's the projector signature when they're feeling successful. So force, the shadow of force for a projector, this is the new moon in the shadow of force, gift of majesty. Forcing, so forcing, not waiting, right? Not waiting for that invitation, not waiting to be recognized, forcing things to happen, forcing themselves to not be who they are, which is being a workaholic. Projectors are not here to be working the 9-to-5 grind. That's the generator world, right? But the high frequency generator loves to work. They love what they do. They're here to be passionate about what they do. So that would be forcing yourself to be a type that you're not. And the majesty is the waiting. It's the waiting that your aura is going to do all the talking. Your aura is going to bring you those invitations. bring you those right people that recognize you. Okay. And letting go of that bitterness. So forcing things to happen is not going to work, and that's going to bring bitterness. Okay. What do we got for the projector? Oh. So you got the Ten of Pentacles. And let's see what the ego is. So this is about finances. Finances. It's about security. Your legacy. So you should be getting hints now, projector, about what you're passionate about. Your study, what you're into, like what you're really passionate about. What you find yourself doing. That's a good thing. Like, what are you doing and studying and in your off time or whatever? What would you be studying anyway? Okay. And then let's see here. 9 on Virgo. Okay. Okay. So you got the 10 of Pentacles there, right there. And then the revenge. The ego trap is revenge. So this is long-term success. Even the word success is here. This is about family. It's about your legacy, what you're here. If you looked at it astrologically, you would look at the 10th house, what you're here to leave behind. But you're building a foundation. That's what this 10 of Pentacles is saying for this new moon. And not forcing, right? Not forcing this. This is long-term success. So revenge, such an ego trip. So the ego is, this is the block here, is the ego wants revenge. Ego wants punishment. The ego, our whole legal system's based on this, reward and punishment, right? This comes from the ego. So we've been wounded in the past, right? This 0 to 7 year old, right? It all goes back. All goes back here. We've been wounded in the past, and then the ego wants to attack back, right? Wants to attack back. Forcing. I want to force back. I want that person to pay for how they hurt me. So, this is about not listening to this ego and revenge and trusting in karma, trusting in like majesty, trusting in the life force energy that's underlying all these human experiences that we're in, right? That karma will take care of that other person, right? It's not your job to seek revenge on somebody, right? This bitterness. They didn't invite me, or they, because you can also be invited, but you can also be de-invited. That invitation may have an expiry date, right? And then you're waiting for the next invitation. Well, there can be this revenge, like there's bitterness here, isn't there? With this revenge energy. Or I'm going to get back at that person with I call it the truth bat. You know, projectors are very, very sharp, right? Very, very sharp. And they can see, look at this aura of the projector. Where's that going? Right? Look at that. It's focused. What's it focused on? Well, it's focused on this. Do you see that? That G center. That's the sense of self right there. So you come across another person, another type, that's where your aura is going, like right in there. Like you can really see people. You can really, really see people. And you can see their strengths, and you can also see their weaknesses. This is your power. But if you've got the ego there, that's going to abuse that. And I'm sure as a projector, you may have caught yourself doing that. And I call it coming swinging with the truth bat, you know, where you're pounding somebody with the truth. Right? And it's true. What you're saying is very, very true. Right? But you're not invited. You haven't been invited, and you're not in your heart. when you're saying it. So then it means it's a lie, even though it's true. It's factually true what you're saying, but it's not in your heart, then it's going to come across as a lie. This is the revenge. So with great power, I think Spider-Man, it was in the Spider-Man movie, with great power comes great responsibility, right? So that's your power as a projector. You can see people. And the revenge card is like victim, right? Because there's a victim, there's an element of victim here, isn't there? Like I've been victimized by that person, right? So with this great power of seeing people, like really clearly seeing people as a projector, you've got to be responsible with that too, right? And that often means biting your tongue, right? Biting your tongue. Else you're going to end up in this bitterness. They're not going to hear you. If you're not invited, they're not going to hear you, right? People can get like a non-self projector can be a nasty piece of business, right? Nasty piece of business, right? For people. So this is what this is saying, is to let this go, this revenge, and focus on your 10 of Pentacles, like whatever you're building right now, right? Whatever projects you've got on the go, whatever is coming to you, like what you would like to do, or whatever invitations are coming, right? Because you can work on things without being invited, like as long as you're passionate about it, you know, studying, whatever you're studying, be doing that, and then you'll be invited down the road, right? So just to look at that and to let go of this revenge. It's just in the space of, okay, that person doesn't value me. They don't value my guidance. They're not recognizing me. I'm not going to push it. I'm not going to force it. The shadow of force. It means I'm coming closer to the people that do value me, right? Because you want to feel that success. That's when this beautiful energy exchange takes place with the projector and the other types, you know? That's what you want. And you want it not to be this, right? With the collective read. Don't focus on this. It doesn't have to be this burden and the overwhelm and the hard work. The not self projector knows this when you've been out in the JOB world. You know, everything's such a burden. It can be joyful, this 10 of Pentacles, right? The 6 of Cups can be joyful, right? It's something that I love to do. I've loved to do since I was a child, right? The 6 of Cups is saying, and that's my sole purpose. And to let go of this conflict I'm in with the not self-projector and that forcing, and I need to force, and I need to make things happen, and I don't trust life, right? Letting that go and trusting your aura here. And then you've got Virgo, which is discernment. And this is discerning a high-quality invitation from a low-quality invitation. So high-quality invitation is they really get you. You don't have to explain, over-explain things. It's like, oh, that person does not understand what I'm saying, right? And you're over-explaining and you're efforting and you're forcing, right? I need to force that person understand me as a projector. The discernment is they get you, right? You just feel understood. You feel recognized, right? That's the discernment with the Virgo. And then in the 9th house, that's the high quality invitation. Low quality invitation, it's that shadow of force. Everything feels forced, right? It feels like such an effort for little return, right? You're priming the pump, right? So much effort, and a few drops come out. That's force. That's the shadow of force. And then it's in the 9th house, right there, the discernment. And the 9th house is all about your stories. It's your worldview, right? Your worldview. You want to shift that now, your worldview, and go into that. Life can be easy. Life can be lived with ease as a projector, you know? That you're not here to work the 9 to 5 grind. Sporadic, that's what we're good at, right? Focused, projectors can really focus for a short amount of time, right? Short amount of time. That's what I do with my readings. I can only do one reading a day, you know? Because that's what's in me, but I give my all in those 3 hours or whatever, right? Or 2 hours. So this, to change the story and let go of this ego, revenge. And so with the ego, when it comes up, because it will come up, we all have this ego, is don't, I mean, you're going to listen to it, but don't act on it. Don't act from this bitterness, right? Because this is all about scarcity. Well, there's no other invitations for me. That's buying into scarcity. That's all an illusion, right? Yeah. And to change the story and to focus on your soul purpose and what you're being called to do right now as a projector, right? And watch for the invitations, the little clues from people. Like watch what people are saying to you, what they're saying to you, the ones that get you, right? Yeah. Okay. 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 So let's go for the manifestors. And this is 9% of the world are manifestors. And they've got the closed and repelling auras. So they're here to initiate. They're here to inform and then initiate. So inform means to share with people. So they've received divine inspiration, whatever that is, and then immediately they go into who will this impact? Who will this impact? Who in my life will this impact? And that's who you share. Right? You share with that person or people, and then you initiate, and then you manifest. So the thing with the manifestors, they don't want to be controlled, and that's why they're resistant to informing, because when they were children, back to the 7 years old, they were forced, the shadow of force, right, to be controlled. Because they have a lot of power, these manifestors, even as little tiny tots. They were controlled. So this is the memory they have. I was forced to not be a manifester. I was forced out of my freedom. That's all they want is freedom. So this is why they don't want to share, because the sharing, the informing got shut down. Right? Got shut down. So the shadow of force would be like forcing themselves not to be to be their not self, right? And to be met with barriers and blocks, and that's what makes them angry. Other people, right, expressing the barriers and blocks. And when they operate correctly, they feel at peace, and that's all they want. The manifestor just wants to feel at peace. Okay. Let's see what we got for the manifestors. So manifestors really have to work on their social skills, right? Because they've got that closed and repelling aura. They're not like the generators who have like the teddy bear aura. It's all fuzzy. Theirs is closed and repelling. Oh. Okay, let's see what the ego's got. So the manifestor got the strength card, and that's the new moon gift is strength and majesty. Majesty. And it's maturity. It's this maturity. The strength card is also connected to okay. Let's see what the manifestor's got. Relationships. Okay. So two tarot cards came flying out for the manifester, and it's the Strength card, Major Arcana, and then the Four of Wands. The Four of Wands. And then you got the Addiction card, the Ego Trap. And you got the 7th house in Aquarius. So this is about your relationships. It's about your home. Right? Four of Wands. Four of Wands is like a celebration. It could be a marriage too. A divine union, the Four of Wands. And then the Strength card. So self-respect, inner power, maturity. This is the Strength card is also about mastering your lower self. And mastering your lower self is about this. Where is he? Did he disappear? There he is. The ego, right? This is the lower self. The ruler of the lower self is this voice in your head that you believe is you, right? This is the not self for the manifester. So it's like mastering that. Mastering that, it means with the Strength card, it means the ego is under your control. You're not reacting, right? Because this is going to create anger in you and other people when you react. Because you've got that closed and repelling aura. The manifester doesn't believe they need anybody at the heart, at their heart, their truest self. I don't need anybody, right? Because you're closed. You're like the girl, the boy in the bubble. Right, with that aura, that closed and repelling aura. And I know manifestors that are like this, right? They're not, social skills are not at the top of the list for them, right? Social graces. Yeah. So this is saying with the shadow of force, is forcing things to happen. So manifestors would do that, like forcing their way. I'm just doing this and I don't give a crap about anybody else, right? I don't care who gets impacted or not. It's all about me, right? The not self manifestor can be very self-absorbed, a narcissist in a way too, right? They've got that potential. So that would be the force. And the majesty is sitting back in your throne and saying, you know what? I'm done with the drama. I don't want drama in my life. I don't want this anger. I don't want to feel angry and depressed and isolated and alone. I want to feel at peace. That's all you want. Well, I'm giving you a hot tip right now, manifestors, is go sit in your throne, right? Sit in your throne, step back, because you got Aquarius here too. You got the Aquarius in the dice. Is detach. Right? Which is detach. So detach from your lower self, what your ego is telling you, what you want, and that's all that matters is what I want, and tough titties for everybody else. I'm going to detach. I'm going to sit in my throne in this gift of majesty, and I want peace, and here's my little golden ticket for peace. Oh, I just have to share. I have to consider other people. I have to consider other people. And you're going to find your strength there, right? That's the Strength card. Yeah. And your inner power. People around you will start to respect you, right? Respect you. And you won't feel so isolated right then with this Four of Wands. So this is about your relationship, manifestors. You got to work on detachment and also not to force your way. Not to force your way. What you want, right? And then you got the Addiction card. The Addiction card right here. So this is about hiding, right? Addictions are about hiding from your soul purpose. This is right for the overall reading here. It's the Judgment card. This is the call of the soul. That's where we're at right now. Right? So this is, addiction, whatever your addiction is. Addictions can come in all kinds of flavors, not just drugs and alcohol. Addiction to being busy, right? Addiction to being caught up in these ruts. That's that force, the shadow of force, Right? I just do it. This is just the way I do it over and over. You can get addicted to this anger too. You can get addicted to the drama in your life that you're creating. Right? We can have crazy addictions that don't even make us feel good, but we're so used to them, right? And then it keeps you isolated. The addictions keep you isolated, right? So you avoid bonding. And really, addictions are avoiding your soul purpose, which is connected to this 0 to 7-year-olds, right? Our soul purpose is connected to this emotional body, right? The 0 to 7-year-old. And then the 6 of Cups is showing us that too, the reunion with the inner child, our innocence and our joy, right? So avoiding doing this work, manifestors, which is to feel, right? Feel what's underneath this addiction, whatever your addiction is, and where you're hiding from yourself. Because when you're in this addiction energy, you're not a clear conduit. Like you've got a little antenna that's picking up on divine inspiration. Well, the little antenna goes down with addictions. You can't hear that divine inspiration that's trying to come through. So it's also about avoiding, because it's relationships, right? 7th house, 4 of Wands, avoiding relationships, avoiding intimacy here for this new moon. But it's saying here, manifestors, that it involves your relationships. So if you've been isolating yourself, right, avoiding bonding with other people through addiction, is that you're avoiding your soul purpose. It's connected to your soul purpose here. What else with the detachment? Yeah. I think that's it. That's it. Oh, and force, the shadow of force too is connected to this addiction energy. Again, it's getting caught in these ruts, these mental loops, right? And that's what this shadow is, right? Acting without thinking or considering others, forcing something where it doesn't need to go. And then here it is. Getting trapped into unconscious mental loops. That's the addiction energy right there. It's something you feel like you have no control over, and it's all about it's the mind. Addictions start in the mind, right? This is just always the way. It's always the way. There's no room for divine inspiration to come through for the manifestor in that position. So majesty, detachment, wanting, like I can change this dynamic, right? I can change this dynamic by informing, by sharing with other people, right? Considering other people. It's going to bring you out of isolation, right? Yeah, but it's about your relationships for this new moon for the manifestor. Okay. And let's go for the reflector to finish it off. So only 1% of the world are reflectors. We already have one on here. So they've got the resistant and sampling aura. You can see right there. So they're here to follow the moon cycles before making any important decisions. So when the reflectors really belongs in a group, some kind of group, and they show the group the health and well-being of the group, or the not where things need to be corrected. Right? They become the embodiment of that. They're like objective, right? If the group is in a circle, they're outside the circle, looking in, right? Looking in. So they follow the moon because there's no colored in centers, with this. Like typically there's one, with all our charts are different, but the reflector has no colored in centers, right? No channels. So where it's white is where you're open to conditioning, being influenced by others, people. So this is why they follow the moon, right? Because they're different. Every day they're different. The reflector. They're not here to be the same. They're not the same every day. If you're forcing yourself to be the same every day, reflector, then you're not self as a reflector, and you're going to feel disappointed. Disappointed. So majesty, I mean, that's really letting go and surrendering, isn't it, to these moon cycles? And this is where you're surprised every day. Like your big question, reflector, is who am I today? That's your big question. Who am I today? You want to be surprised by life. So the great thing about them is they're protected in a sense, right? Their aura is resistant and sampling. They sample the other person. You know, the projector takes in people really, really deeply, but the reflector doesn't. Okay. Oh. Oh. I think this happened last time with the reflector too. You got the Judgment card, reflector. So that's where we are. That's perfect, isn't it? Right? That's the group reading where we are. So that's where you are too. Makes sense. And let's see what the ego's got to say. So this is about your soul purpose, reflector. For this new moon in Sagittarius. So Sagittarius likes the big elevated view, right? It's Jupiter. Jupiter's the ruling planet. Okay. What's the ego got to tell the reflector? So like I said, like get yourself an astrology program or an app or something. Oh, look at that. Okay. Taurus. Oh, 7th house. Okay, so relationships here. Relationships here. So you got the Judgment card. This is the call of the soul for the reflector. And then you got the ego trap card, and that's cling, cling, cling. So holding on to whatever you have, not wanting to let go. So it could be an addiction. And it's funny, the manifestor got the addiction card. So addicted to a person, you can be addicted to a person like you can't survive without them, right? As if they were your savior. So it's a fear of the unknown, right? So the ego is telling you, reflector, to fear the unknown, right? Fear the unknown. And don't believe in yourself. Like, don't trust yourself. And this is force, right? It's the shadow force, reflector, and it's forcing you to be something that you're not, right? Which is... You know, you follow the moon cycle. You're not the same, right? So this is saying that life is calling you to go into your next chapter as a reflector, and to believe in yourself and to value yourself. That fits with this too, because you got the Taurus. You got the Taurus dice in the 7th house, and that's about valuing yourself. Right? So things are being taken away. Look at him, like he's clinging, he's white knuckling. I need this. I need this person. I need this situation. Right? I'm terrified of the unknown. I'm terrified of this moon energy. Where's this moon energy taking me? You know? Well, it's taking you to your higher purpose. Right? That's the call of your soul. So you can be called to like move, maybe, called to another relationship, called to leave a relationship, called to leave a job that you've been working at. But it's the 7th house, so it's going to be relationships. It's about your relationships. So yeah, this is about valuing yourself, not forcing things, and right, forcing things to stay. Well, if I just do this, right, if I just become the person I think that other person wants me to be, then I can hold on, instead of just relaxing and letting go and being the moon. Out of all the types, you're the moon. You wax and wane. You're never the same. You're never the same. And to trust what life will bring you next, right? Something that's more aligned with your authenticity, right? That's for you. That's what I see there. And Taurus, I mean, the archetype of Taurus likes to hold on to things, you know, material things. Yeah. And just a reminder, the North Node is in Taurus, the 2, right? So this is about embracing the feminine nature. That's the reflector, right? Embracing your feminine nature, surrendering and trusting. Doesn't matter if you're man in a male body or female body. It's embracing the feminine, that feminine energy inside you. Surrender, trust. These are your words. Become receptive. The moon, right? In yogic teachings, the moon represents the female energy. And know that there's a hidden harmony, that something's coming to surprise you, right? The reflector wants to be surprised. Something to surprise you. Yeah. Only 1% of the world, reflector, so just really let go and let life surprise you. And that's the majesty, right? The gift of majesty for this new moon. And that's your strength, is to let go, is to be able to let go and to value yourself. And to value yourself. And this will also bring peace, because Taurus likes peace and comfort in their relationships. But it starts with yourself, right? To be peaceful with your relationship with yourself. Anything else? Yeah, and not to cling. You know, I always use that, you know, if you have your 2 hands like this clinging, well, something's trying to come in. You can't receive like this, can you, right? So you want to be opening your, letting go, opening your hands up. Yeah. Opening up your hands for what's to come. And it's going to be relationships. For this, it involves your relationships for this new moon. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. I'm just looking at some yeah. I just wanted to mention a meditation, a Kundalini yoga meditation for diluting the ego. Diluting the ego. So diluting this guy, right? That voice in your head that you think is you, that's not. This is the not self. Creates a lot of suffering, this right here. Anyway, there's a powerful Kundalini yoga meditation for diluting the ego. So you can practice that. So I put the link in the information box. Okay, so click on it and it will show you the time it starts, right? And it starts with the tuning in. So that would be a good one to practice for this new moon. Yeah. And then this really, when you get the ego out of the way, out of your head, this is what's going to come up, right? It's your emotional stuff. Your emotional stuff. Because that's what's blocking it right now. The shadow of force is the ego forcing this down, right? Shaming you, whatever it is you're trying to hide from yourself. Shame, right? Fear, guilt, rejection, abandonment, right? Feeling separate. Well, then all this starts to come up. Right? These buried emotions start to come up. So this is a good meditation for that, right? If you really want to get on it, especially the generator and manifesting generators, because they're the most those two types are the most conditioned by this, right? The most believing that this is them, right? Out of all the types is this mind, right? This ego mind. Okay. Let me see here. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Okay, everybody. So that's what I have for this new moon. And I hope to see you soon in the next video, because my program is ended tomorrow. So I'll have more time and energy for these live streams. But just let me see. Yeah. There we go. What I want to say is to really trust your passions, right? Whatever you're passionate about, to just trust that it's leading you somewhere. It's like little breadcrumbs that are leading you somewhere, and not to let this ego stop you, right? Not to let the ego stop you and block you from doing your soul purpose. And you don't need to figure it all out in your head, right? The cross of planning is going, right? No more figuring out and strategy and this and that. We're moving into the unknown. So it's trusting moment by moment by moment. Your response, right? Your divine inspiration, your invitation, right? The cycles of the moon, whatever your type is, to trust that, and these little breadcrumbs will be shown to you, and it's going to lead to something, right? It's just about trust and having faith. Have faith in the divine first. This is our test of faith, not faith in little g and outside external, right? That are going to come in. They'll be coming in. We'll save you. Here, just give me all your power. Give me all your energy. Give me your freedoms, and I'll save you. That's all a bunch of lies. It's all about being a self-empowered, self-sovereign being, right? For this new cross of planning in the age of Aquarius. So now it's time to get used to this new way of being, right? So in the surrender, in the flow, emotions come up, don't force them down, feel them. They just want to be felt, and they want to move so you can expand, right? Into your greater self. So it's really a beautiful thing, right? So just faith, that's my word, is faith. Like, have faith. This is when it's like, oh, I have no faith. I'm in the dark night of the soul, right? The Neptune in the 36, the darkening of the light. There's nothing, right? I'm not in touch. Nothing's working in my life. Everything seems to be stuck, right? I have no faith. I feel horrible. I feel heavy. That's when you reach your arm up the highest. It's like, okay, I know you're there, right? This invisible realm, this invisible energy, I know you're there. I can't feel it right now, but I'm reaching for it. I'm making a step forward into the unknown. That's when the divine comes to you, right? But you need to take that leap of faith. That's what the dark night of the soul is, and we're all in it. We're totally in it as a collective right now, right? Okay? So trust and have faith for this new moon, and I'll see you in next video. Okay. Satnam, everybody. Aloha. Take care.